we haven't introduced you to our new baby girl yet.
You almost had that baby alone. Like, Tristan almost delivered that baby. Amazing.
We found this little nest. It looks like it had been buried in the snow and probably a mouse, but they've abandoned it, and this is great tinder, so we're gonna use this to start our fire. Yeah, nice and dry. That's all cedar bark they've chewed off. We don't need a whole lot of it, just a little bit. We're looking for a spot to make a little camp here, and this area looked okay, but I noticed this is an ash tree that looks like it's dying, and these big branches could break off and be dangerous, so we're gonna keep moving on.
Is this the spot?
I think so. We got water source there, got the setting sun.
Right here looks like there was a old fire pit from generations past.
Yeah.
A bunch of rocks.
Yeah, look at old charcoal. Charcoal never rots. Nice flat rocks here. Got a few smaller rocks. You just put a stick over here and hang the kettle right there. Put the little fire there. Alright, so this is bushcrafting with a baby. This is how it goes. Well, I'm going to spark this fire anyways and boil some water, make some tea. So this is that cedar that we found at the mouse house. There we go. Quite damp because it's been under the snow. A little oxygen can fix. I'm underneath a big cedar tree here, so I'm just going to break some branches off. In the background, you'll notice what bushcrafting with a newborn baby's like. She was crying, Keelan had to put her to sleep. We have a routine where she eats, plays, and then sleeps, and so it was sleep time. And she likes to sleep in the dark.
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping? Good job, Caitlin. Good job, Mama. So we haven't introduced you to our new baby girl yet. Officially, have we?
No.
Her name is Aceta. So we have what we call timber tea. It's all wild harvested. It's wild mint, pine, and cedar. And so we just dry it out, dehydrate it, and then we have it all year round.
High in vitamin C. It's good for days out here. Overflowing.
Oh yeah, right. For how small your cup is. You want to tell them the birth story?
Yeah. So yeah, actually it wasn't too far from here that I actually went into active labor. But I'd been having contractions a few days even before then. But our midwife and doula had said, you can time the contractions once they start getting intense and more consistent. But, don't page us until they're consistent and they're 4 minutes apart for at least an hour.
Even though the app has been telling us to go to the hospital 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
We're still at home and hanging out down by the river and doing photos. And
yeah, we were shooting some content that Thursday.
The day she was born,
the day she was born. But yeah, so I guess I was having more intense contractions and I was like, I want to go down by the river, just the soothing sounds would, be nice and relaxing. So we went. I'm surprised you actually said yes, because it was already pitch black. It was like 9 p.m.
Yeah, well, we were already laying in bed.
Yeah.
And you said, let's go down to the river.
Yeah, I just craved to be outside by the river. I just wanted to lie down in the earth and just kind of ground myself. So we walked down to the river just over here, and we were down there for about an hour. Tristan fell asleep, I think. We had this exact tarp down by the river, and I was just kind of lying there and going through the contractions, just listening to the river sounds and breathing through it. And then we walked back home, stopped quite a few times along the way because I'd stop and have a contraction. And then I went back to bed. I think Tristan, he was doing something, so he wasn't in bed yet at that time.
I made supper.
At 9 p.m.?
Yeah, I made pierogies when we got home.
Oh, okay.
Because I was thinking we were going to be going to the hospital, and I wanted to make sure I was well fed.
Yeah, we knew. Yeah, she was coming soon, so yeah, we were going to have a long night. And then I tried to go to sleep, and I kept timing them because I was like, okay, if it's going to be an hour, we're going to page the doula and the midwife. And then you came to bed, and then I kept having them, and they changed. I could tell that it was no longer like I could breathe through it and it was okay, and then it would taper off. The contractions changed to my body felt like it was taking over, and they just got really more intense. So during them I started shaking. Meanwhile, Tristan is snoring beside me. and then they got to a point where I would still shake and I would even have the contraction anymore, but I just could not stop shaking. So then that's when I nudged Tristan and I said, okay, I can't stop shaking. I was shivering. It felt like I was shivering, but I wasn't cold. But still, it hadn't been an hour. It had been 40 minutes. And I said, let's just, these are different contractions. It's getting really intense. Call the midwife. So then you went in the other room and
We have to page the midwife. We don't get a direct line, so we got to wait for them to call back. We called the doula. Basically told everybody it's time.
Yeah, we told the doula. Yeah. And then she asked some questions, and then she's like, okay, I'm going to come over. You tell the midwife, because I think she knew we were further along than we thought.
The plan was to have both the doula and the midwife at our house while we do, early labor.
Yeah, I wanted to labor as much as possible at home, and then the plan was to go to the hospital because it's my first birth. For new parents, I was terrified. We didn't know what to expect.
But when we called them, there was a question that maybe we should just go straight to the hospital because it seemed like maybe things were moving along faster than we expected. but both the doula and the midwife said just stay put, we're coming there.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to go to the hospital at that point.
I think they knew baby was coming. So fortunately we had a birthing tub set up. We both actually wanted to have a home birth, but just for the sake of safety, we thought we should be going to the hospital. But we thought, just in case, let's be completely prepared for a home birth.
Yeah.
Had the tub, had all the supplies, had the kit from the midwife ready to go of all the essentials that you need for a home birth.
Yeah.
And we were ready to go.
We're about 25 to 30 minutes away from a hospital, so we'd have to go like early. And at that point, my body, I was like, there's no way I'm getting the Jeep, because I thought I'd have the baby.
Here, why don't I take her?
It's okay, we're talking about you, I know. All about you. She's sleeping.
Sleeping, yeah. Okay. She's like,
So yeah, so we got the tub going.
Here, I'll take her because maybe you're talking so too much, and she's saying, "Go to Mom, let me sleep." This is parenting. Everything takes a little longer when you got a baby.
Okay, you want to see Daddy?
For a walk. Yeah.
Where was I? So yeah, the midwife, the doula said, okay, I'm coming over right away. I got into the big birthing tub. We put it right in our living room. Trustin, we had the hospital bags packed, so Trustin is getting the bags and putting them by the door and saying, okay, should I put them in the Jeep? And I said at that moment, I remember saying, we're not going to the hospital. Like, there's no way you could get me into that Jeep. I'm not leaving. If we would have got in there, we would have had her on the highway. Like, there's no way I was leaving at that point. So doula came over. She got there about like half an hour after we called, and she was amazing. You know, we dimmed the light so it was really dark. We had some candles. We had some gentle like acoustic music playing. On Spotify, it's called Gentle Acoustic. It's a really nice playlist, and she was there. She put kind of like a cold cloth on my forehead, and she was like so gentle. I could not even know that she was there, but just like a calming presence, which I think is amazing. Doulas are so good, not only for the mom, for me, but for the partner. So she like really calmed Trustin down as soon as he's like, what, we're not going to the hospital. So it was amazing. She was there for maybe about 25 minutes, and then at that point, I knew my water broke. I was in the water, so you couldn't really know, but I knew it. I could hear the pop, and I was like, okay, she's coming. And I kind of I was on my knees, leaning over. Trustin was there, and then I had the doula on either side. And then the midwife finally, I was like, oh my gosh, she needs to come. This baby's coming. The midwife walked in the door, and I said, okay, baby's here. Like I could feel her, like she was right there. And okay, let me see. And she had to go back in the car and get her mask and everything like that, because it's COVID, obviously. And then she kind of looking with the flashlight, and she's like, oh, I don't think baby's here. And then that next contraction, she was born. So she went to the water, and the midwife was like, oh God, and I had to kind of grab her right away. And then she came out, put her right onto my chest, skin to skin. She was crying, she was healthy. It was amazing. I was like, the video is hilarious because I was like in complete shock that she was born. The midwife actually walked in, and it was under 6 minutes before she was born. So the doula and the midwife kind of joke afterwards, like, you almost had that baby alone. Like, Trustin almost delivered that baby. But yeah, it was amazing. It was surreal. And yeah, she's awesome. And I highly recommend having a midwife and a doula, especially like if you're having a home birth, having a doula with you as well. Even in a hospital, doulas are great advocates for you, and couldn't have had a better birth, better experience. As a first-time mom, I was terrified of the experience, but it was awesome. I think it was kind of a blur to me, but right after, I think I said it was from what the pain, like what I expected the pain to be like. I think it was like a 6 out of 10.
Not to say it wasn't painful.
Oh no, it was the most pain I've ever felt in my life.
But not as bad as you were expecting.
I was expecting a lot worse. So if you have like a low risk pregnancy and you're kind of like, oh, I really thought I'd have to go to the hospital because what if I needed an epidural? What if I was just like couldn't take it? But I'm so happy I did. Like I didn't need that at all. And it was awesome. So if you're thinking like, oh, I'm scared, but I want to do a home birth, I do recommend it if you're like low risk and you have the right team. It was so great. Yeah, we were all 3 of us in our bed, all snuggled up, within an hour of her being born. So she was born at 3:30 a.m. That Thursday night, so Friday morning. And yeah.
We were back in bed by 4:30.
Yeah. Anything you want to say?
Just how incredibly proud I am of Caitlin. She's always had a high pain tolerance. I've learned that if she complains about getting a blister, it probably means it's a blister the size of a quarter that's already popped. So the fact that she handled the birth so well, I'm not completely surprised, but I was incredibly impressed by how well she handled the whole thing and how great of a mom she is. So I could ask for a better mother, and I could ask for a better daughter. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful souls.
Good morning. It's a new day. It's 10 a.m. We're headed to the cabin today. I just came down here to enjoy my morning coffee. Tristan is getting Asetta dressed. So this is exactly where I laid down and went into active labor. So peaceful.
Are we gonna go to the cabin? Are you gonna see the cabin? Yeah, let's go.
What did you say you feel like when I'm in the back seat?
I feel like a school bus driver driving you two around. Seta likes off-roading. Sometimes she'll be crying as soon as we start driving in the off-road. She's happy as can be. Here we are.
Annie, we're here. Tristan just ran down to the cabin to set up a shot because he wanted to get our reactions. Wow.
What do you think?
Amazing. Look, honey.
Hey, darling. Want to see the cabin? Do you have a nice sleep? Hello. There it is. What do you think?
Wow. Amazing.
Look at that view. Look what she gets to fall asleep to. How many babies get to sleep to that? Not bad, hey? Okay, Caitlin's nursing Asetta, so I'm gonna go start the fire and then we're gonna cook some burgers. Sound good?
Yep.
Gonna use the fire pit back here. So because the ground is snowy and wet, I'm just laying down a bed of logs here first. And we'll build the fire on top of that. So Caitlin made this little oven this summer. And what we found is better to make the oven or make the fire in front of it. And then as we get some coals, we can kind of push them in there and that'll keep stuff hot in this little area. But burn the majority of the fire out here because if we get too hot underneath these rocks, they will crack. That'll be a poker stick.
It's a nice looking feather stick.
We'll see if it catches a spark.
Is your nap time now? You live in the timber life? Yeah.
You smiling in there? We're gonna make you a little shelter. Making you your Quilby into a tarp shelter. Good night. Woo, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Good night.
Good night, honey. Have a little nap.
It's humid out here. Very damp.
There you go.
Sada's like, here, I'm missing out on all the fun. I don't want to go to sleep. So much for putting Sada to sleep. She wants to be part of the party. Okay. Should I, do you want me to cut onions or do you want to cook dinner and I hold Sada?
Sure, I'll get it prepped.
Okay, so I should take Sada?
Yeah. Oh, that was a good burpee. Is that it? There you go. Good daddy.
You know what, Harry, hold her for a second. I don't need my gloves on. They're kind of dirty. I don't want to touch her stuff. Okay. Oh, hello, sweetie. Hello. Going for a walk. What do you see? Mess up a little spatula here.
She's sleeping.
Just sanitizing this because I touched the raw meat with it. So I took that all off.
Now we're gonna put some brie on the burgers.
She's doing good.
Still sleeping?
Yeah, she's still sleeping. Alright. Wow, the house looks awesome. So we got onions, burger, brie, arugula, and a balsamic glaze. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Bon appetit.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Great burgers, darling. We're managing. People say babies change your life. It just slows you down a little. You want to say goodbye? Bye.
Bye.